Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen, the song of life each day. Skies be sunny or they're gray. You can sing along, but if not, okay, just find a place to laugh and pray or meditate or do what it is you do and seek some peace and joy. Seek some peace and joy, come what may. Hello! This is Peace and Joy 505, the podcast, and I'm your host, Jim Whalen, and you're not. And today's episode is something that I've heard other people do and sort of a neat exercise, and something I invited some of my blog readers to do last week, which is writing a letter to your 15-year-old self. Now, this recording won't be the entire text of that letter. You can find that at the blog, which is peaceandjoy819 at blogspot.com. And there's lots of other stuff there if you want to read. But this is sort of the spirit of that letter, and I wanted to give it today in a podcast. So, here we go. Dear Jim, this is a letter from your future self. I know that you might not believe this is real, so I want you to think about it as a minor miracle. You know, when you learned in second grade the difference between a minor miracle and a major miracle, well, this is a minor miracle. You know, like finding something in your school locker after the first 2 weeks of school. That kind of miracle. That's what this is. And in order to convince you, I suppose I should tell you something about yourself that only you/I could know. Your favorite, very unsmart activity these days is something that you do in Crapo Park. No, not that stuff you'll do in Crapo Park in a couple of years. The process of riding your bike very fast down that back horseshoe curve, going about as fast as you can, then stopping the pedal, leaning into the turn so you can maintain the speed, leaning so far to your left that your elbow is maybe 5 or 6 inches off the ground, and you're not wearing a helmet. Good move, Einstein. But leaning fast enough to keep your speed through that whole stretch of road, all the way up around to the big curve where the guns are, pointed at Illinois. Now, it's the year 2019, and to this date, Illinois has never attacked. So we might not need those guns, but I'm not sure that Illinois doesn't have some guns pointed at Iowa somewhere. And so let's stay on guard at least another 50, 60 years. Anyway, if you don't believe I'm your future self by now, you're not going to believe it, but I'm just going to share some wisdom anyway and have some other things to say. First of all, in a few years there'll be a movie called Forrest Gump. And in that movie, Forrest's friend, Lieutenant Dan, invests some money in a fruit company. Well, it's not really a fruit company, and it's a company called Apple Computer. When you get a chance to invest in Apple, if you ever do, that would be a good thing. I didn't do it. And if you do, you may have more cash than I'll ever dream of. But cash isn't everything. So, invest in that fruit company. Also, the movie is really good, and it will remind you a lot of growing up in the time period you grew up. Second, don't worry so much about girls. Oh, yeah, I know. You're a teenage boy and you will have your crushes. Well, it'll be soon enough when you get the chance to have some broken hearts. And as far as understanding women, well, good luck on that. If that ever happens, somebody else will have to write us a letter and tell us how. These broken hearts will be okay. They won't last forever, and you will find people to love. You'll also find tequila, and it will be legal for you to buy it in just a couple of years. But you'll buy enough to prove to other people that you can drink it, and that's not necessarily the smartest thing to do. But you'll do it anyway. Maybe cut back just a little sooner than you decided to. Just saying. Okay, also, I know you don't have a clue in terms of what you want to do for a living, which means you're going to develop a lot of skills and do a lot of things, and that's okay. Don't take the time to learn HTML. What's HTML? Well, it's a programming language used on the internet. What's the internet? I don't have time to explain that, but you will learn HTML, and that will be cool for about 6 months, and then it won't be useful at all anymore. So spend your time doing other things. Alright, that's about all the advice I'm going to give you in terms of career world, except for don't get involved in an occupation where you buy, sell, or repair electronics, especially not beta, VHS, or DVD equipment. People will buy it at a high price. The price will dive significantly, and in a few years, no one will use it. It will be available at every garage sale that you ever go to. And yes, there'll still be garage sales, but there'll be things called eBay and other things on this internet where you can buy almost everything. Amazon will become something that's more than a river, but you'll find out that soon enough. Well, that's about enough of that kind of thing. I do want to take a couple minutes to say some other things. Mostly, thank you. Most important, thank you for keeping me alive. I have lived a good, long life, and I'm still planning on staying around a while. But you started off the process of surviving for me and taught me a lot about surviving and being tough and doing without. And I really appreciate that. I have appreciated it always. And now I'm taking the opportunity to thank you for it. Thank you for questioning answers and answering questions all your life. You've understood the importance of learning, always, and always striving to learn more. You've somehow understood that the world will humble you in terms of things you think you know. One thing I'd like to add to that is, it is more important to keep learning and be quiet than it is to make sure everyone knows you know the answer. Sometimes you're going to step over that line. Sorry that you didn't learn that yet. Well, thank you for learning the line between sarcasm and hurting people with your language. Sometimes you'll step over that line too, but you've learned it pretty well already, and so you can help people laugh, and helping people laugh may be one of the best things you'll ever learn, and I'm glad you started the process of teaching me how to do that. Well, in a nutshell, I have a lot of things to thank you for, and a lot of lessons that you have given me as gifts, and I just wanted to let you know those things. Also, I need you to know that the world of music will always be your friend. Unfortunately, the Beatles will never have a reunion. Why? Because John will get assassinated in 1980, and you'll be glad you drink tequila right then, and you can buy it legally. Other than that, there will be some great music, and in about 2 years there will be this music called disco. Don't worry, it will pass. Okay, that's about all the time that you will take to read this, and about all I can say. You're doing a good job so far. Don't be quite as afraid as you are, because that will haunt you moving forward. I don't have any advice on how to change that exactly, because you're a human being and I'm a human being. In terms of the best things that you will experience in life, well, you already know that you're somewhat of a misfit. The thing you don't know yet, but you are starting to learn, is there are some really great misfits out there, and you will be friends with some of the finest misfits ever to walk on this planet. And I thank you for believing in yourself as a misfit, because if you tried to fit in, you probably wouldn't know these people, and knowing these people has made your life a very rich thing. So, again, thank you for so much. Thank you for so many gifts that I have used in my life. Always your friend, Jim. P.S. Take care of my knees and back, because when you have that big surgery, there's going to be a nurse that doesn't see the catheter line. And, well, having a catheter line ripped out just isn't much fun. But again, you'll survive. Thank you for helping me be a survivor. Peace and joy be with you.